Hey guys, this is Haseeb Qureshi, and right now I am making a really quick video blog that was thrown together kind of at the last minute. It's been a really long day right now. It's pretty late at night, so I am completely exhausted, and I kind of I don't think I have enough juice in me to write a whole blog post out. But I wanted to do something that was really quick as a kind of addendum maybe to my previous blog. I just got back actually from Portland earlier today, where I've been for 4 or 5 days now, and I got back at like 9 p.m. So I'm just completely exhausted. But that being said, so the previous blog that I wrote, it's funny because it was actually inspired by a conversation that I had with a friend of mine, Jennifer Shahad in Vegas, and it's sort of one of those things that I've kind of been rolling around in my mind for a while, but never really had the impetus to get out on paper completely. Uh, and so I found when I was writing it that there was a lot more that I wanted to write. I didn't really have the time or the just the volume of it that I wanted to get out was so much that I realized, okay, I've got to cut this short somewhere. I can't write as long as I want to because it's going to be too much. Like it's going to get too long. It's going to take too long to write. I don't want to edit it too much. So I decided to just kind of cut the article short. Is sort of what happened, and I think people could see that. So there was a comment actually at the end of my blog by Marshall28, and I'm just going to quote it directly. He says, "You said the answer is twofold," which is kind of the conclusion of my blog. Is what I say is basically what you should do in regards to working on that 90% of your game that sort of is inaccessible by theory. So I said, he says, you said, of course, which means I said. The answer is twofold. Our first goal should be to make our performance more like deliberate practice. The second goal should be to try to create more interplay between your poker theory and your poker play. And so he is kind of asking what that means. And of course, I was intentionally very vague on this because I knew that if I went into detail on this, it would take a really, really long time to explain. And it can be the meaning of this can be extricated in a number of different ways. So he kind of takes a shot at it, and basically, in the first part, when I say our goal is to make our performance more like deliberate practice, he's asking if that means you should play a lot, if you should play more frequently, if that's going to make your play more like deliberate practice. And that's really not at all what I meant. And this is actually, I mean, I could talk about this for a really long time, and I don't want to get too crazy into this, especially because I'm exhausted, but also because as I mentioned in my blog, I'm actually doing a seminar on this topic because when I spoke about this with Slow Habit, my friend Tree, he basically told me that this topic is dense enough and people are going to be interested enough in it that I should do a seminar on it. And I've never done anything like that, and I thought it'd be really interesting to do. So I've been like kind of writing some stuff up and sort of putting materials together. And so if you guys are interested, you need to click on the link that I'll put it in this blog entry so you can check it out and sign up for the seminar. And basically, the short version is at least for the first goal, for the first part of this statement, right? How do we make our performance more like deliberate practice? And remember how I defined deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is basically a form of practice that is made to be as efficient as possible for conditioning yourself to doing the right habits, right? To doing the right things, right actions, whatever. So when we say deliberate practice, it's almost better to say very, very structured practice. Not necessarily structured in the sense of like, has to have some specific regimen, but it's structured in such a way as to condition you optimally, condition you as best as you possibly can be conditioned by some repetitious practice. So making our performance more like deliberate practice simply means, if you think about our performance, the way when we play poker, there's a spectrum of different kinds of sessions you can have in regards to how much your session is like deliberate practice, right? In a session that is deliberate practice, you are going to be experimenting a lot. You are going to be very consciously paying attention to the results of those experiments. There is going to be a lot of very direct involvement in every single one of your plays when you are deliberately practicing, if that makes sense. when you're just performing, it actually may be good for you to veer away from that. When you're just trying to play your optimal A game, it may be best for you not to be playing in a deliberate practice mode. But there are also ways that you can deliberately practice that aren't going to necessarily take away from your A game. Okay, and those really have to do with the immediate things you do after a hand, things you do during a hand that are going to make you one more present in a hand, which basically means you're going to be thinking more during the course of a single hand, but also things you can do immediately after a hand that are going to make you more strongly conditioned by what happens during that hand. And what I mean by that is there are some times when you can play a hand and something happens. Let's say you end up making a bad play. But because of whatever circumstances, say one, he's a bad player, two, you think he's really bad even though he's kind of decent, but you think he's just horrible. He's your worst enemy. There's a lot of ego involved in the hand. You get sucked out. You end up having the best hand even though you made a bad play. A lot of stuff can happen where you end up not really being that strongly conditioned by a bad play. Basically what that means is that you don't really feel like, oh crap, I messed up. Or like, oh crap, I lost. If you lose money in a hand, it's very likely you're going to get conditioned by it, which means it's very likely you're going to look at that hand, you're going to think, okay, I made a mistake here, I got to figure out what that mistake is, and you're a lot less likely to do that again, not even on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level as well. So basically, if you see it this way, if you start to approach poker, and you start to approach your own sessions from this kind of mindset, you'll see that there are a lot of individual little things you can do, little tweaks you can do, even during a session, to basically make yourself a more calibrated machine, so to speak, when it comes to playing poker. Because when it comes to being in the moment, you don't really have that much direct control over how you're affected and how you see things. You're kind of just playing out your intuitions. You're kind of just letting your mind roam, and whatever you're equipped with to deal with what happens in the poker game is really all you've got. Once you come to a game, all the tools you have are already there. You're not going to get any new ones over the course of a match. So in a sense, this framework, this way of thinking about yourself as a poker player is actually really important. And it's something that I actually find surprisingly few people approach the game this way. Which is, I don't know, it's kind of surprising in poker how bad people are at managing themselves as poker players, or as gamblers, or as whatever you want to call it. But basically, this sort of thing is going to be a lot of what my seminar is going to be about. So you guys should definitely check it out if you have some time on Sunday, or whatever. But I'm going to leave a link up here so you guys can check it out. And thanks for listening. I'm going to get some sleep because I'm completely exhausted. And yeah, I'm still looking at real estate in Vancouver, and I appreciate all the help people have given and all the little tips and whatnot. So I've been looking at going to Yaletown. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but it's a pretty nice location. But man, fucking Vancouver is so expensive. Anyway, I am boring myself now and falling asleep. So you guys take it easy. Thanks for viewing my blog, and thank you for all the kind comments on my article. And I hope to make some more soon. All right, bye.